welcome to the D3D4 Football Podcast with me, your host, James Richards. Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, the 5th of April. It is another weekend without football, and it does appear that it's going to last for a fair while yet. I am joined, as per usual, by co-host Ed Walker, and we are delighted to be joined by a man who this season has made goalkeepers look silly. He's turned defenders inside out on multiple occasions and is having a really good campaign. It is Wes McDonald, Walsall's winging maestro. How are you doing, Wes? Welcome to the podcast.
A pleasure to be here. You know, I'm good, thank you. Hope you guys are doing good as well, keeping safe. A pleasure to be here, mate.
Yeah, keeping safe. Slightly, I wouldn't say bored because I work from home anyway, so I'm kind of used to it. But the kids, yeah, if there was a wall and a car, I'd be driving it right up it at the moment. I have to say, they are seriously difficult. I do feel for all parents listening to this who've got kids at school and just trying to entertain them. It is an interesting time we're living in. In fact, I hope, though, to be honest, on a serious note, that everyone listening to this is okay and that no one has been affected in any serious way health-wise by the COVID-19 outbreak. It is unprecedented times, as we keep saying, but you know, just to get my head around what's happening, you know, when you're seeing on the news daily death tolls from certain countries over 1,000, even in this country, up to about 800, I think it was, either yesterday or the day before. It's quite, humbling. And I think the thing you have to remember is that as much as we're missing football, there's something going on out here at the moment which is much bigger than that. But we are back to give you your football fix. I trust you're keeping well, Ed?
Yeah, I'm keeping great. Similar to you in that I typically work from home as well, so whilst it isn't too much of an issue, you've got to, of course, be aware of what is going on elsewhere.
Yeah, indeed. Wes, let's start with asking you then, as a footballer right now with the season coming to an abrupt halt, how are you keeping in shape? What are Walsall and their fitness team getting you to do to make sure that you're not losing too much fitness in this time?
Yeah, we've been given programs from our fitness instructors. So, all the boys have just been following that, running, some ball work. And yeah, we're just staying in shape really because, as you said, we don't know how long this is going to go on for. So just got to be ready for when we come back.
How have you enjoyed the season? Because, it's been one for Wolves where it was a struggle at times, but, you seem to have galvanised quite well recently, and there is now some promise that things might build for next season, if not making a late push or anything like that for the playoffs this year.
Yeah, for me personally, it was quite a slow start, but I feel once I really got my opportunity, I just took it really, and obviously all the boys at the moment, we were on quite a decent run. I think our last 5 games we was gaining a few points. So at the moment right now it's a bit of obviously it's unfortunate what's happened because it's basically the crunch time now towards the end of the season, but we just gotta push on really.
Do you feel as a footballer it's important to finish this campaign? There is talk, and there has been talk, and we discussed it with Ben Whiteman actually last week, where the non-league season was voided, and that left teams that had already been promoted for months, in some cases, looking very sort of disheartened that they were going to have to start all again. There's this sense that this season really does need to be finished, and then worrying about next season later. Is that something you concur with?
Yeah, I believe so. I do believe the season should be finished because, as I said, it's about the last really 10 games that we had left. So, teams could drop points, other teams can gain points, and you never know where you can finish. And then obviously there's the playoffs. But yeah, I do believe so. Definitely the season should be finished.
Difficult situation regarding contracts. Now, as a player, obviously you've extended your contract to next summer already, but there'll be some who are looking to move, some that will be will have been looking at this summer as an opportunity to maybe go up the Football League. Do you think a lot of players, being one yourself, would be willing just to wait for the season to actually finish before moving, even if it meant their contract had officially expired?
I think so, because I'm not too sure what it's going to be like for the players that are out of contract, that were meant to be out of contract at the end of the season. But I'm sure everyone will want to finish the season if you are in contract until the end of the season. But it's obviously it's a bit unfortunate, but that's just where we are with it.
We were saying last week, Ed, weren't we, that we think it's so important to get this season done and dusted before even thinking about next year, even if we truncate next season.
I just think there's this real obsession that people have got with sticking to schedules, and I just think in this situation you've got here, schedules don't really matter, do they? You know, there's talk about potentially wrapping up this season in the second half of this year and then maybe playing a half 23-game season next year, potentially something like that. But I don't see why we need to desperately get this season started as we normally would next season, because I just don't think we'll be at that time.
No, as I say, this is a very fluid situation. And good news this week as well, the Premier League forwarded payments to the EFL clubs to help them through. I think remind me, Ed, what was the actual figure?
I think it's 250 million, I think.
Spread across the club, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, that's good news. It is forwarded payments, so these are monies that were owed to the clubs at some point in the future. But by forwarding them, Andy Holt was making the point, this gives the clubs time to basically breathe, pay their staff and wages, and avoid the catastrophe that could have been brought on by this crisis. We're seeing a few clubs really struggling and that could go to the wall. There's some great podcasts out there. If you look on our Twitter feed, I've quote tweeted a couple. The boys at Salopcast, definitely worth a listen. Sorry, Walsall fans, I know that's a Shrewsbury podcast, but it is worth a listen to hear their CEO talking about what this means for a football club as a business, and I think that is something that fans will appreciate hearing. But Wes, let's get back to you, and let's start at the beginning. So, if I'm right in saying you were born in London, and did you get into football at a very early age?
Yeah, I was born in London, King's College Hospital to be exact. And I started to get my first Sunday league team was, I think, when I was about 6. I was just playing around one time with my dad in the park, and one guy came over and he said, "Oh, you should come down to a Sunday league club called Junior Elite." And I went there, I think the following Saturday, and then I got in, and then from there I was just playing every Sunday really and training once a week, and that was about it.
Who did you support as a kid?
I'm an Arsenal fan. That's my boyhood club. Growing up, I was always an Arsenal fan. So yeah.
Is that was that your dad's team as well?
My dad, he definitely was an admirer of Arsenal, but yeah, I would say my dad and my uncle. My uncle was also an Arsenal fan, so I just jumped on that.
So when you're playing Sunday league football, you got your break and were picked up. Am I right by saying it was Crystal Palace who picked you up first as a professional club?
Yeah, the founder of the club was also a Crystal Palace coach, so that's how that kind of scouting thing got me there really. So yeah, I went Crystal Palace first, and then I went to Fulham after that.
So you're at Fulham, and was it 2013? You moved to Birmingham to play for them. How did that move transpire?
Yeah, I was at Fulham from about 2009 to 2013. I signed my scholarship at Fulham, and then after a few months, I just wasn't really getting really the game time. So that's when I moved to Blues, and then I've just been at Blues ever since. From then to about 2018, 17 it was, and then
Is there a particular figure in your footballing youth who you found pretty inspirational? I mean, was there a particular coach or anyone who gave you excellent advice? It might have been a family member.
Obviously my dad's always been there, like every step of the way with me. There's plenty of coaches, to be fair, that I could name throughout my journey so far. But yeah, I'll say definitely my dad. He's definitely my number one fan, and plenty of coaches on the way.
Is he a dad that is more of an encouraging dad, or does he like to say, if I was in that situation, Wesley, I would have gone left, then right, and shot from 40 yards into the top corner. That's what you should be doing. Is that what he's like?
Nah, he's not that precise, but he's definitely encouraging, but he also will let me know if I need to up my game, or just gives me little advices here and there, for the pitch and off the pitch, to be fair. So yeah.
Keep you on the straight and narrow. He's a good dad. That's good to hear. You're a winger, but have you always played that position? Is that where you were naturally playing as a kid?
No, I actually used to play centre midfield. I used to play centre midfield or just behind a striker, but I could always play right or left. But when I first started playing for a team, it was like down the middle, centrally, really.
Is there a side you prefer, being on the left or the right?
I prefer the left, yeah. Just because, I can kind of cut inside or go down the line. So, kind of like that versatility.
Yeah, he's certainly a versatile player. So, as a winger, this is a question I've always wanted to ask a winger in sort of League Two. On your day, you can be unbelievable, Lionel Messi-esque. We've seen it this season. But the thing with League Two wingers, and this is what fans always say to us, and we've heard on different podcasts, is that you guys are terribly inconsistent. How difficult is it to find the consistency to be effective every single week?
It's difficult. It is difficult. Obviously, that's probably one of my main, focuses before I come into a game really every week. Is like, let's keep this consistency up. But at the same time, with a winger, it's kind of, sometimes you can be out of the game for, maybe 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It might not be your fault, because with wingers and strikers, you need a service. So if you're not really getting that much service, you might be out of the game for quite a bit of a time. And also you want to keep your position. You don't want to go all the way to the other side, or, do you know what I mean? So, yes, it's pretty difficult, but, in any moment you can change the game because you're in them positions.
Who's the most difficult opponent you faced this season? I'd say both as a team, but also individually. What player has made your life the hardest in a League Two match this season?
I say as a team, I thought it was a really good team. I thought Cheltenham, they played really well in terms of as a team.
Yeah,
Cheltenham played really well. And a player, that's a good question. I'm not too sure, if I'm being honest.
That's fine.
No one can stop you. Is that what we're saying?
I'm not saying that, but I'm just not too. Yeah, I'm not really too sure.
There are some good players in League Two. I think, like we always discuss, the level gets a bit of scorn from those who don't watch it, or those who are only, sort of watching their team. The sofa fans, the Sky TV generation, who don't really watch live football and support Manchester United, despite the fact that they live in Dover. But League Two's got some great players, and we're seeing it this season. I mean, you mentioned Cheltenham as a team. I mean, it just shows you, with a bit of, they were unfancied in pre-season. No one really thought they would be right up there, and yet they've galvanised as a squad. They play to their strengths, and they're very well organised, and it's amazing what you can do. And this is what I guess Darrell Clarke will aim to do with Walsall. What's Darrell been like for you as a manager? Because he seems quite an intense character, and I think, to be fair, but he gets results.
Yeah, Darrell, for me, he's a top manager. His passion for the game, as you said, he's right up there. Because he always wants us to win. He always wants us to do better. Even if we had a good game, he always wants to keep us pushing on to that next level, really. So for me, as a manager, that's what you want.
Do you find that he changes his tactics a lot? I mean, the one thing I hear from Wolves fans is that he's a bit of a tinkerer with the tactics. Some might say, though, he is just very well organised and understands the opponents he's facing. Where do you lie on that? Because obviously you've been in and out of the team a little bit this season.
Well, for me, I just just go by what the gaffer tells me, really. If the gaffer wants me to play here, I'll play there. So in terms of the formation, I just whenever I'm called on to play, I just play, really.
You've got you're the perfect attitude for a footballer. I'm sure fans everywhere can always name one in their club in the past who was just that toys out of the pram kind of character. We've all seen him. But, good to see that you're not like that. The other thing I would say as well, you're playing on the left. One thing that a lot of people have noticed, we mentioned it on this podcast, is that there seems to be just a lack of balance at times at Walsall. So do you feel if you had a right winger who was a bit similar to yourself, that it would give the team that better balance, or are we just talking rubbish?
I just said I play on the left. We actually have got a right winger, the new signing. But I guess so, with every team, you need that balance. But I think we do have that, and I think lately we've definitely been showing it.
Have you been giving Josh Gordon some tips about how to play on the wing? Because he's done quite well when moving out to the right.
Yeah, Josh is again, he's a great player, got a great attitude. He will play wherever the gaffer needs him to play, really. So and I think he's done a good job out wide as well. He scored some goals, created some goals. So definitely, Josh Gordon's done very well out wide.
So going back to your time at Birmingham, you struggled a little bit to get minutes there. I mean, a lot of players find it very difficult to get time in clubs that are sort of championship level. You made the move after a couple of loan moves. You made the move to Yeovil. How did that come about, and why did you choose Yeovil?
Well, I think the Yeovil manager at the time, Darren Way, he knew one of my Birmingham coaches, 23s or youth team coaches it was, and then that's literally just how the move came about, really. Was
it a bit of an eye-opener coming from sort of like a youth football level to men's football at Yeovil?
Yeah, there's a difference. There is a difference. It's more, it's much more physical. And at the end of the day, you're playing for points. You're not just playing, development football where if you lose, all right, we've got another game. But when we're playing against men, if you lose and there's 3 points on the line, that could be someone's, that could be someone's life at the end of the day. So you need to get as much 3 points as possible. And there's definitely a difference between development football and first team football for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Yeovil struggled at the end of last season. You left in January, didn't you? If I'm right in remembering.
Yeah, I left in January. Yeah.
And then, how did your move to Walsall come about this summer?
The move to Walsall, literally just, I think they might have seen me play previously when I was at Yeovil, and then that's just how the move came about, really.
What were your expectations when you arrived at Walsall this season? Because not many fans were sure. It was a difficult campaign last year for the Saddlers. They got relegated. Obviously, Darrell Clarke comes in. He's a manager with a great record. So it's always difficult. He's building a brand new squad. What, when you arrived in the building, did you think were the kind of expectations for this season from everyone?
To be honest, when I first arrived, I knew Walsall was a great club, a big club, especially in League Two. I believe that it's a big club in League Two. So my expectations really was just take it back how it comes. Really, I know they just got relegated, so it's not going to be, and I know what League Two is like. It's not just going to be a walk in the park. If people did think that was going to happen, especially with all the new players we had in. So I was literally just ready to go, really, just ready to take it, game by game. That's about it, really.
What did you make of the start of the season? Because it was a tricky start, to say the least. There seemed to be quite a lot of pressure. Obviously winning the first game at Northampton was then followed by a pretty poor run. I think it was about 7 games without a win. Then 3 wins on the trot, followed by yet another poor run. It's been a bit of a streaky campaign, hasn't it, for Walsall?
Yeah, you could say that, but as I was saying, because we had so many new players in, it takes time to kind of gel and kind of get used to the starting 11 and how the players play. So I think that's the reason why, in my opinion, why that
seem to have you seem to have built a bit of a rapport as a team now. There's a bit more of a settled lineup. That's made. Do you feel a good difference in how you're playing?
Yeah, I believe so, and I just feel that at the moment everybody knows now what everyone's about, and if we do need to adjust, we can do that. So I believe so.
Yeah, your form since November has been pretty terrific, and in fact, you were probably one of the teams, and I mean you might agree with this. You're probably one of the teams that really didn't want the break to happen, because you've been 5 unbeaten, and you look like a side that had gathered a bit of a momentum. Was it quite frustrating then to have this stop right now?
Yeah, it definitely was frustrating because, as I said, we was on a good run. So we had very good momentum, as you said, looking to take every game out how it comes, looking to get 3 points. So yeah, very frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's everyone's health is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely concur with that. Before we get into the questions that we've had from supporters, let's get you to dish the dirt on your teammates then. Who is the worst dressed member of this Walsall squad?
Oh, the worst dressed. I'll go with Alfie Bates.
Alfie Bates, the young man.
Sorry, Alf.
Yeah, trying too hard. Who's got who's the best music taste in your opinion, and who's bringing down the dressing room with their terrible tunes?
I said the best music taste. Ooh, I'll go with Elijah.
Ah.
Yeah, Elijah Adebayo. Yeah. And the worst.
Please don't tell me there's someone who comes in with like the best of ABBA or something like that. Oh dear.
To be honest, everyone's kind of got similar type of music taste, so I don't really think there's a bad one, to be honest.
That's good. No
that I've heard anyway.
Did you play with Elijah Adebayo at Fulham?
Yeah, I played with Elijah.
What did you make of him during his time when you were playing together there?
Elijah, he's a top player. Again, he can be very versatile. When I was playing with him from, I think it was under 13s, all the way up to, as I said, the start of youth team, he actually used to play centre back. So yeah, he used to play centre back, but he could always play up top because technically he's very good for a big man. So yeah, pleasure to play with him, Elijah. Good mate of mine as well.
Excellent.
Didn't know that, playing centre back now. Yeah, there's been a few players over the years who've gone. I mean, I might be wrong here, but I swear Sol Campbell was once considered a striker at one point. I might be completely wrong at that, but I swear I saw him up front playing for for Spurs in those early games. Again, like I say, it might be completely off the mark, but there have been some players who do that. Ollie Hawkins, of course, the one we cover, Ed, I guess, at Portsmouth.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can still remember David James getting put up top by Stuart Pearce in a game once.
That was just...
He goes back all the time.
That's genius. Is that the one where he kind of kicked someone when he went for a corner or something?
Oh, I think it might have been. I can't think it was Stuart Pearce. I think it might have been.
I think it was, yeah. I think it was Stuart Pearce.
Yeah.
Tactical genius. Right, David, you're 6'7" goalkeeper. Drop your gloves, mate. Up front. Go on. There's been some goalies who've scored. I mean, apart from Jose Chilavert, who actually took free kicks, there've been some goalkeepers who've scored some pretty. I mean, Schmeichel scored a couple, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Jimmy Glass, probably the most dramatic of goals ever scored by a goalkeeper for Carlisle. I'm just trying to think if there's any others more recently. Marco Emilia for Livorno in their European campaign in, was it 2006, scored? I think that was
talking about.
Zagreb.
Just want to bring up goalkeepers, Wes. Liam Roberts and Jack Rose. What are they like as keepers?
Top keepers. If I'm going to be honest, obviously Rosie, he hasn't really got the minutes this season that I'm sure he would have liked to have. But Liam Roberts, his performances this season has been, top draw. In my opinion, he's made some very good saves. That's kept us in the game at times, and kept out some very, very good shots. So yeah, I think they're very, very good keepers, both of them, to be honest.
Not a bad choice of pair to have, because a lot of clubs that we cover regularly will probably take either of those as their first goalkeeper. So, have those two. Yeah. Are they quite competitive against each other?
I don't really see it because, when the keepers are training, they don't really train with the squad until we do like a match or five-a-side.
And then they're just too busy picking your shots out of the net, aren't they?
I was thinking that.
You could say that. But I'm sure they are. Definitely keeps players on their toes when they got competition. So I'm sure they are.
Right, let's jump into the questions. Thank you to all of you who have sent them in. I've just somehow closed them, so I will open them again. Perfect prod prep. There we go. So, first question for you then, Wes, comes from Gabe Sutton. And he said, it seemed as an outsider, Wes, that you had a subdued first third of the campaign, aside from that strike at Crawley. He said, and then you enjoyed an outstanding winter, which catalysed the extended contract. Was there a penny-dropping moment that instigated that great run of form?
I wouldn't say there's a penny-dropping moment, to be honest. I was just, training hard, waiting for my opportunity. And then I got it against Crawley away. And I just wanted to take the opportunity, which I did. And then, as a player, you want more game time. So I just continue doing what I was doing, trying to be as consistent as possible. And the more game time I was getting, the fitter I was getting, my intensity, raised, tempo with the game. And then I was just looking to help the team out as much as possible, trying to create chances, score goals. So that's about it.
Can we just touch?
Yeah, sorry, go on, Ed.
Can we just touch on that Crawley goal? Like how brilliant that. What were your reaction when you scored that?
The one away or the one at home?
The one at home, I think it was the Crawley goal at home. One at home.
Yeah, because I think I started off the move and I just wanted to get my shot away. But basically, the guy I was playing against, Josh Cogley, I know him very well from Blues as well.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to get my shot away really. And I tried to beat him and I saw another guy kind of behind him. So if I did get the shot away, I knew it would have been blocked. So that's why I turned again and then created a space and then got the shot away. And yeah, of course, I was happy it went in.
The rest is history, as they say.
Till it was in the moment it left your foot and all that.
Yeah, to be fair, when I struck it, I knew I got good connection, and it was just the ball done the rest, I guess.
Yeah. Did you apologise to Glenn Morris after the game for making him look silly on that shot? Because to beat Glenn Morris, I mean, if you follow goalkeepers in League Two, he's probably the best shot stopper in League Two. I mean, there's a few, but I mean, he's right up there. He's had a brilliant season. They call him Cat because that's him. He's so good. To beat him with that shot, I mean, absolutely unbelievable effort. That.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, no way, this is Messi incarnate. This is what? This is League Two, man. You're not allowed to do that in League Two. They all have to be scrambled through a muddy puddle and sort of pushed over the line with someone's butt cheek, I think.
Yeah, you see a lot of them goals down in League Two.
Talking about pitches, how you find there's definitely different quality surfaces in this division with the clubs you go to. Are there any pitches you particularly struggled with this season, would you say?
I think if I was to say pitch, I'd probably say Newport away, but I only really played 10 minutes at the end. So, I didn't really get into the game that much. But in terms of the pitch, I would say, that I've heard from all the boys, they found it quite hard to play on. I think it's Newport. Yeah.
It's a bit of a challenge coping with that churned up pitch, isn't it? Compared to the smooth surfaces, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We've had a one come in from Steve Thompson here. We're obviously hoping that this campaign finishes, but what are your hopes with Walsall for next season?
I think myself and the rest of the boys, we really want to push on and try and get in that top 7. I definitely believe so for next season. I think we've got the quality to do so, and just try and do better than we have this season. Really, I know this season is not finished yet, but yeah, I definitely believe top 7 for next season.
Do you think there's enough in this? Think there's enough in this squad currently to do that?
I believe so. I think the last 5-10 games we're kind of showing it on the momentum that we've got at the moment. We did have. I definitely believe so, for sure.
Yeah, you've certainly got stronger as a team through sort of the second half of this campaign. I think you've lost just 4 games since November, which is not bad, considering you at one point went on a run of about 6 or 7 straight defeats, so not bad at all. Thomas has asked the question, if you had to choose one from this season, in which game do you think you performed best?
I'd probably say, in terms of all-round performance, I'd probably say Crawley. Actually, that's a good question,
Tough one.
That's a very good question.
A lot of fans seem to think you came to life in that Crawley away game.
Yeah, that's the game I was thinking. Yeah, I'll go with that one. I'll go
bit of a catalyst for your campaign, that one, I think.
Yeah, I'll go Crawley away.
Question from JC29. How are you finding life at Walsall, and how did you find dropping down from Birmingham into League Two?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it at Walsall. I think it's a great club, as I said, a family club. Great atmosphere. The fans are absolutely brilliant every single time I play. Sorry. Brilliant club. And in terms of how I found it, as I said, it was much more physical, I would say. Then obviously 23's football at Blues. But yeah, I'd say that's the biggest, and a lot more kind of aerial as well. Because in development football, you're getting taught to play through the thirds and develop as really a player. So yeah, I'd say that's the difference.
Do you find the pressures it's a lot more intense because, like you say, it's people's livelihoods on the line when you're playing in League Two?
At first, I thought there might be a bit more pressure on, but as you play more games, you just get used to it. Really, like when I'm playing, to be honest, I don't really feel any pressure really because I'm in the game, so I'm just focusing on what I need to do.
That's good. Holly, Walsall FC, says, what do you think of the Walsall fans?
Yeah, the Walsall fans are absolutely brilliant. They travel away, they come in big numbers, create a great atmosphere, always, cheering the team on, myself on as also. Yeah, I think the fans are tremendous, to be honest.
Something I think about as well, how good is it as a player to see a away crowd of 1,000+ people, for example?
Yes, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, because you're away from home. I think it was the Salford game, which I really enjoyed playing in Salford away. Yeah, the fans, they came in big numbers, and it really showed in terms of how we were playing as well, because we felt at home.
Do you find your performance kind of boosts as well as you've got that big crowd behind you?
Yeah, you could say that. I think obviously it's always nice. It's always nice to come out of the tunnel when you got your fans there and you're away from home. So definitely a boost, I believe.
Great. One from Darrell Clarke's Barmy Army here. That's it. We've touched on him already, but what is Darrell Clarke like as a man manager? What's it like working under him?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. He's passionate. He wants to win. Even when we do win and we have a good performance, he's on to the next one. And to me personally, he's really good with me. He's always encouraging me, put his trust in me. He always believes in me. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, he seems. I mean, he's obviously got a great record. So I'm always in the field that give managers time and they will deliver. And I think the Walsall chairman has done very well this season. Not to listen to any outside influences when things weren't going well. Just keep going with him, keep the course, and things will surely pay off. And I think they will do. We've got one from Jack F WFC who says, "Does Elijah have a funny character?"
Yeah, Elijah's a very funny character, a very, very funny character. Without him even knowing, he's one of them. But yeah, Elijah's a funny guy.
And a great DJ by the sounds of it, so there you go.
Yeah, good DJ also.
Yeah. One from Logan Richards here. Loving the football. Do you think the playoffs is a target for next season?
I believe so. And, as I said, I think everyone's in the same boat on that one. For next season, I do believe so. For sure.
Yeah, it looks like you've got the makings of a very good squad.
Great.
Yeah, and things are starting to, even for your strikers who struggled at times this season, they've started to click and they've started to find the net in recent games. So that's really good. And it's nice to see players like Josh Gordon and Elijah finding a bit of confidence, because I think, it's always difficult. League Two can be quite a grueling division if things aren't going well. So it's good to see those guys getting on the score sheet, and you can see their performances just get better every week when they're confident. Amazing what it does. A bit of momentum, a bit of a feel-good factor. Charlie 4 has said, "Would you ever consider leaving us if another team came in?"
At the moment, I'm just strictly focusing on Walsall, so that's not really in my mind at the moment, if I'm being honest, Charlie.
Your new contract, I mean, was it hard to make that decision? Because it seemed from the outside to linger on a little bit, but was that just a case of getting it over the line? Were you always wanting to stay at Walsall and continue the form you've been showing?
Yeah, I always wanted to stay at Walsall because, as I said, it's a great club. Great bunch of lads, very good manager and coaching staff. and I was in very good form as well. So I just wanted to, crack on, get that all sorted, and just push on really.
Mm-hmm. One from Fat Boy Dilly here. I think I might know the answer to this, but what's the best goal you've ever scored?
I go with the Crawley at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Oh, we like that one. That was unbelievable.
we do.
I'm not being funny. I mean, I don't know, Ed. Come on, let's have it. Seeing as the season is on hiatus, is there a better goal scored in League Two this season than that?
I was thinking about this. Off the top of my head, I can't think of that. I can't think of much better than that.
I saw that and I thought, this is not just because you're on the podcast, Wes. Not at all. This is honestly, I'm trying to honestly think, have I seen a better goal than that in League Two this season? I've seen, obviously there's been some good goals, but that goal was something else.
It's the build up to it as well, the dribble as well, like you say, Wes, to get past the players as well, to recognise that space you can get into. And then the technique on the shot at the end to beat Glenn Morris, it's just...
How long did it take Jax Cogley to untwist his blood at the end of the game?
Cogs,
yeah.
Cogs he's a good mate of mine also. We was having a little bit of banter after, but it's all good. It's all good.
Excellent. That's it's really good to know though that we've just had League Two's goal of the season winner on with us this week. So.
I appreciate that.
Wes, no, in all seriousness, thank you very much for giving us your time this morning. We've really appreciated it.
No problem at all. Pleasure to be on here, guys.
Good luck for the rest of the season, whenever it restarts, which I'm sure it will. And and all the Walsall fans who sent us in questions, really appreciate it. If you could share this podcast wherever you are on social media, we'd appreciate that as well. Ed, thank you as always for taking up your time to join us on the pod.
A pleasure as always doing this.
New patron Tom Edmondson, who I do apologise, I forgot to shout you out last week, mate, but thank you very much for becoming a patron. If anyone else would like to help support this podcast, you can do so for only, I think it's like $1. It's in dollars because Patreon are quite reliable, but they do in dollars, which converts to about 80p a month. And it really does. You may think 80p a month doesn't make a difference. It does. Trust me, it helps us hugely. Just paid for the hosting for the website for another 12 months. And thanks to you guys, it's been easy to get that over the line. So really appreciate your support on that, and it does really help us to maintain the podcast and the website. So cheers for everyone who is part of that campaign. We may not be back next week. Might have a bit of a break. Might have a 30 minutes to sort out. So there may be a podcast either midweek or the midweek after. But we will be bringing you some more interviews before the football resumes. So keep an eye on our Twitter feed for all of that. But until next week or the week after, everyone, take care of each other and look after your health. Goodbye.